That, yes, definitely making some snow blocks. That is how cold it has been in Alberta. Thank you so much for that. Now let's take a look at the West BC. We do have a low pressure system tracking towards the coast this evening. A few showers tomorrow, snow along the interior, but the rain will taper off by Monday morning. And here is some really great news. We have some dry weather coming up going into our Monday, and it's going to last over the next several days. Let's take a closer look at Vancouver and what you can expect coming Monday all the way through to Thursday. What a great stretch of mild temperatures, and it's also dry. Now, speaking of those temperatures, I'm going to get to that in a bit. The prairies, this low pressure system is making its way through, but it's really not significant. It's very weak in nature, just a dust of snow, maybe less than 2 centimeters in Edmonton as an example. Now there is a fight of Arctic air trying to come down to the south, so really along that Saskatchewan-Manitoba border is where we're going to see those frigid temperatures along to the north as well. But Edmonton not so bad, minus 10 going into our Sunday afternoon. But I did want to focus in on Winnipeg to show you those frigid Arctic temperatures. Tuesday feeling like minus 26, Wednesday feeling like minus 25. The good news though is that it's going to be nice and sunny. Now temperatures in Ontario have been very frigid over the last little while. Sudbury as an example dropped 11 degrees in just 1 hour on Wednesday evening. Again, you see this Arctic air trying to make its way to the south, but by Sunday we're going to be above freezing 3 degrees, which is really great news. We do have this very weak system making its way through going into tonight and tomorrow, dropping a little bit of snow, less than 5 centimeters until that high pressure system makes its way in. So it's going to be quite a nice weekend, very dry, very mild, thanks to those southerly flow winds. Now, what we are looking at, the low that is coming from the U.S., this Colorado low that's going to make its way through into Toronto and the GTA Monday into our Tuesday. So yes, we're going to see some of that snow first, and then it might transition into rain. So stay tuned. We're keeping our eyes on that. In the Atlantic though, yes, frigid temperatures, but finally loosening its grip by Sunday. That is fantastic news. And for the most part over the weekend, it is going to be nice and dry. So the temperatures again rebounding quite nicely. Very dry weekend, which is really fantastic. And again, this system from Ontario makes its way into Sunday. Hi there, Sonia Sache here. Let's start with BC. We have a low pressure system that literally slides along the coast tonight. It's going to be bringing with it some showers tomorrow and also some rain. That rain will taper off Monday morning, and then we do have some snow, and that snow is going to linger into Sunday. But the good news is that going into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be fairly dry. Vancouver should be dry all the way through to Thursday. So with mild temperatures, not so bad. Let's start now. Let's take a peek at the prairies where we do have this temperature divide. So we have this Arctic air mass really trying to compete, trying to slide its way through to the south, but we see this boundary. Take a look at that. So Winnipeg, you're part of that Arctic air mass. We could see temperatures feeling like minus 26 going into your Wednesday and into your Thursday. But for the most part, Edmonton shouldn't be as severe, still feeling and being into the minus 13, minus 14. Now let's take a look at Ontario. We do have a very weak system making its way through Sunday evening, bringing with it just some light flurries. It's just going to be a dusting of sorts. Toronto GTA might see in and around the 2 centimeters of snow, most of that falling tonight. Maybe some flurries tomorrow, but again, nothing too significant, along with a rebound in temperatures above freezing. Now, talking about the Arctic air, so the Atlantic provinces definitely have been experiencing that bitter cold. That will loosen its grip going into Sunday, dry for the most part. Now, we love to educate you here on the Weather Network. What is nucleation? Here's Chris St. Clair. And take a look at a glimpse of what was going on in your region. We love seeing your videos and photos. Go to @Sonia Sache or @Weather Network. You too could be featured on the show. Good news, warmth is on its way. We're definitely not going to see those minus 15-degree temperatures. We're going to have the southerly wind flow, and by Sunday it is going to be at least 3 degrees in Toronto, so a slow build. We are looking at, though, a system making its way in tonight, bringing just a dusting of snow. We could see about 5 centimeters through to Sunday, most of it falling tonight, but racing elements matter. Here's Marta with more on that. Hi there, Sonia Sache. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's focus in on BC. Yes, we have this low pressure system sliding its way down along the coast, bringing with it just a few showers tomorrow, snow in the interior. But good news, though, is that dry temperatures are coming into play going into our Sunday night and Monday. So let's focus in on Vancouver. I just wanted to highlight the dry stretch Monday all the way through to Thursday. It's going to be nice, mild, and dry. So that is fantastic news. Prairies, yes, we do have this low making its way through, so it is going to slide down, bringing with it just some light flurries, nothing too significant, maybe some light snow in the northern parts of Alberta and light flurries across the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border. But it's really this Arctic air that is really trying to fight its way south. Brandon minus 25, 26. But I wanted to focus in on Winnipeg just to highlight the Arctic temperature. Minus 26 is what it's going to feel like on Tuesday. It's going to feel like minus 25 on Wednesday, although nice and sunny. Now, the Aurora Borealis season is upon us, also known as the Northern Lights. Here is the why, where you can experience it, and when with Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Now, going into the Atlantic, that bitter cold finally loosening its grip going into Sunday, which is really good news. Also dry going into the weekend. The next weak frontal boundary moves in on Sunday morning, but again, it's just going to be bringing some light flurries into New Brunswick and then Newfoundland. But let's take a look at Toronto. We love to see your videos and photos, by the way, in Ontario, and there's a good look at that ice. Speaking of that frigid temperature, well, we're also going to be rebounding above freezing going into Sunday. It's going to be quite nice over the next couple of days. But we do have this light system tonight, bringing with it just some scattered flurries, just a dusting of sorts, but your locals are right now. Now, Alberta's weather isn't a breeze for many Canadians, especially though for migraine sufferers. There tends to be, and apparently there is, a link between migraines and Chinooks. There's definitely that trigger. In fact, there's a surge in emergency room visits during a Chinook event. For more on this story, visit theweathernetwork.com. Hi there, Sonia Sache. Hopefully you are having a great weekend. Let's talk about what is happening in the West BC. We do have this low pressure system that's tracking towards the coast this evening. With that, just a few showers tomorrow. Snow in the interior. That snow will linger through to Sunday, and then that rain through to Monday early morning. But the good news is that we're going to have some of that dry weather going into our Monday and Tuesday. Vancouver could see that dry temperature, dry weather going into your Thursday. So very positive news. Let's take a look at what's happening in Ontario. We do have a very weak system tracking across southern Ontario. So this cold front is out of Manitoba, bringing with it just a light dusting of snow. So nothing too significant, maybe 2 centimeters in the GTA Toronto. Further north might see 5 to 10 centimeters tonight going into tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, just a few flurries, but nothing significant. Let's talk about what's happening in the prairies. So we do have this divide. So this Arctic air really trying to fight its way to the south. So Winnipeg is going to be very, very cold going into Wednesday, feeling like minus 25, 26, where Edmonton might be just minus 10, minus 15 degrees going into our Sunday. Let's take a look at those temperatures in the Atlantic, where it has been very bitter cold. Finally, those temperatures do loosen its grip, so we will see some milder temperatures. Now, speaking of that ice and cold, have you ever seen the ice on trees after a winter storm and you're thinking, this is hoarfrost? Well, here's Kelly to explain. Well, this is how cold it was in Ontario. This is a look at New Hamburg. Thank you, Blaine, for sending this in, by the way. He's throwing boiling water over his head and it instantly turns into a steam display. Look at those clouds. Again, that is how cold it was. Sudbury, as an example, dropped 11 degrees in 1 hour. Toronto saw minus 15 degrees and it felt like minus 30. We would love to see your videos and photos. Go to @Sonia Sache or @Weather Network. You too could be featured on the show. But good news though, Eastern Canada, specifically Toronto and the GTA, we're going to have warmer, milder temperatures coming on Sunday. Let's take a closer look at tomorrow afternoon. Above freezing, above seasonal, it's going to be 3. Yes, it's going to feel like -1, but it's actually going to be quite nice. We are seeing the southerly flow, so that is what's keeping us above seasonal and a lot milder than we have seen over the past several days. Again, 3 degrees going into our Sunday as this Arctic air tries to make its way south going into our Monday. We are looking though at this weak system making its way through Toronto and the GTA tonight, so we could see a light dusting of snow, but nothing too significant before this high pressure system moves its way in, and it's going to make for a very nice Sunday, partly cloudy. Again, nothing too significant in terms of snowfall tonight. Further north we go, we could see up to 10 centimeters, but just a dusting up to 5 centimeters, Toronto, GTA. That snowfall will mostly happen tonight. We could see some flurries into tomorrow, but nothing too significant. Let's take a closer look at Toronto over the next 7 days. So again, Monday, it's just going to be -2 and then 4 on Tuesday. Again, love those temperatures, but we are looking at a storm that is expected to hit next week. Here's Kelly with more. Well, we are several weeks, over a month, before we see that pretty gorgeous mid-20 degrees and beach weather. Wednesday night, in fact, Sudbury dropped 11 degrees in just 1 hour. Take a look at Thunder Bay, -12. Yes, it's sunny. Nothing compares, though, to the Sunshine State, where it is sunny all the time. Enjoy yourself by the beach. Miami, 26, partly cloudy, gorgeous weather.